Fiance, female 29, insists I, male 30, cut off my parents, struggling with the decision. The original post was posted March 27th, 2025 in r/relationship advice. We've been in a relationship for 9 years, engaged and living with my fiance for 5. We are financially independent. I work full-time, while she works part-time with her father. She wants me to completely cut ties with my parents, believing they manipulated me and are responsible for many of our arguments. She sees 3 main issues. 1. I don't confront them directly. She says that I should tell them to their face what kind of people they are. In her view, they are full of themselves, always boasting. Example, this phone of mine is really good, or giving unsolicited advice like, why don't you try doing it this way? 2. She believes they manipulated me. She interprets small things like my dad saying, are you leaving already? Why not stay 1 more minute? As manipulation, even though I usually respond by saying, no, we're leaving. She still sees it as them trying to influence me. I don't immediately choose her when she told me to choose between her and my parents. I hesitated. She sent me a message saying, I will not be a second choice, and I will not be an option that you don't want to choose immediately without hesitation, no matter what you lose. Oh my god, this one's wild. Like, even from that third, like, what is this? We're not even like a paragraph in. This person's like controlling his shit. Oh my god. This wasn't the first time she gave me an ultimatum. When my parents invited us to a birthday lunch, she demanded that they stop asking because we will never go out to lunch only to visit. When I asked if I could go alone, she said no. I was to stop going to family lunches altogether. End of discussion. Oh my god, so wait. She is trying to, like, isolate him so he's, like, a lot easier to abuse and manipulate and maybe even, like mess with him psychologically. And that's assuming that this is real, and this is Reddit and r/best of redditor updates, so it's even doubtful that it's even real. So, although she mentioned cutting ties a few times during heated arguments over the years, she still interacted with my parents, visited them, and prepared gifts for them. We see them about every 2 to 3 weeks, for over 3 years. We haven't gone to family lunches, even for birthdays or holidays. If a birthday happened to fall on the same week as a holiday, it caused major issues to her to go with my parents sooner than 2 to 3 weeks period. I apologize for the rain in the background. These visits were short and uneventful, just sitting and talking. My parents rarely asked for help, except twice a year, when they physically couldn't mow their own lawn due to health issues, multiple spinal fractures, diabetes, heart attacks, and back surgery. Even then, she reluctantly agreed to help. I haven't visited my parents alone once I moved out. My past and my parents today. This is formatted a little weird. So he's got this line of text that's kind of like in bold, and I've never seen a Redditor update. Yeah, so he's got like little sections here. Oh, this will be nice. Okay, this is a little bit different than your usual Reddit story. My past and my parents today. When we were still living separately and in our first months of relationship, I got a call from my dad telling me to put away my camera lenses I had left on the table because we didn't arrange that I wouldn't be left there. I went and did move it anyway and go back to here. That's how it's written. I went and did move it anyway and go back to here. And she still brings this up as proof of their control over me. I agree, this is some kind of control, and because of that, my actions against that further down of relationship were more visible. I also once told her I felt emotionally distanced from my parents growing up because of their authoritative style. Maybe this made her see them in a worse light. I don't know what that whole paragraph is, but you're cooking with that. I don't know what that is, but oh yeah, keep writing like that, dude. Yes, they had more control over me in the past, but since moving out, they haven't, or I didn't see that. They never speak badly about her, and they treat me normally. My dad still likes to act like he knows everything, but nothing extreme. That's how dads kind of are, you know. They're kind of like a little bit of know-it-alls. But, like, so can, like, kids be know-it-alls, too, you know? Like, especially, like, teenagers go through, like, that phase where they think they know everything, when really they don't know anything about anything, and, you know, you might be a teenager listening to this. I don't know why you're listening to a fucking femboy reading Reddit stories, but, you know, hey, all more power to you. You don't know shit. I promise you that. Meanwhile, she works with her father every day. They talk over Viber. I don't know what Viber is. Viber? I don't know what that is. Almost daily or every other day. The misspellings in this is pretty bad. We frequently go on trips with her parents. Well, I mean the grammar, we frequently go on trips with her parents and visit her vacation home every 6 to 8 weeks, staying for 2 to 3 days. I have a great relationship with her parents. My compromise and her refusal. This is another section, by the way, if you're just playing a video game in the background. Or like if you're just like putting this on in the background, this is this is another section that he like bolded. But the person who wrote this didn't section it out correctly, so it looks a little weird. I told her if she didn't want to see my parents anymore, she doesn't have to. I also offered to visit them less, but she refuses any compromise. I must completely cut them off, and she won't discuss alternatives. This argument has been ongoing for 3 months. My lord. I mean, at that point, if you're like arguing with your spouse for 3 months over something, I think at that point it's like, I don't want to do the whole Reddit cringe thing where it's like, I'm sorry, I don't want to do like the whole Reddit cringe thing where it's like fucking, you know, oh, you have an issue, a slight disagreement in the relationship. Oh, you need to leave them. I don't want to do that, but I mean, like, 3 months is a long time to be fighting about something. Especially when you're adults, you know? Recently, my dad had a birthday. I visited him alone for 1 hour and 15 minutes. 3 days later, to show her that even birthdays or holidays aren't a priority for me, that alone was enough for her to want to break up with me. I mean, the girl's trying to control you and separate you from your parents, dude. I think you're the one that should want to break up with her. But that is just my opinion. I'm just some weirdo on the internet reading this story that happened, like, eons ago. During our relationship, I told her my parents didn't mean much to me. At the time, I truly believed it, not just because I had to, but still, she would probably have left me otherwise. I told her many times she is my only priority, and I've proven it many times. But because I didn't instantly say, okay, I'll cut them off, as she sees it as proof that they matter more than she does. Well, like, I don't know, man. Your parents don't seem all that terrible. But this woman seems like she's trying to isolate you, and I don't know what for. Probably for some emotional abuse, maybe some like light cucking or something. I don't know. The truth is, I don't care about them as much as before, but not to the extent that I want to erase them completely. Whenever I try to discuss finding a solution, she refuses, saying she can't change her mind. It's either her or my parents. If I mention that they are my parents, she gets even more frustrated. I've always respected her wishes. And when she still maintained some level of contact with them, I thought she was doing it for me, out of care. But now, she wants this for the both of us, not just herself. Too long, don't read. Engaged, living together for 5 years, my fiance demands that I completely cut off my parents, believing they manipulate me and are responsible for our arguments. We see them every 2 to 3 weeks. but over the past 3 years, we haven't gone to family lunches, not even for birthdays or holidays. If a birthday and holiday happened in the same week, it caused major issues. I offered compromises, but she refuses to discuss alternatives. It's either her or them. Meanwhile, she works with her father daily, talks to him, and almost meanwhile, this is not a too long don't read, dude. This is like 3 paragraphs. That's not how you do a too long don't read. Anyways, I'm just going to skip over that. Edit 1. To add context after 2 months, wow. To add context after 2 months, she suggested a compromise, only talking to them on the phone for birthdays and sending holiday greetings via SMS. I'm assuming it's like text message or whatever. These guys must be like boomers that's writing this right now. It is a compromise, but honestly, considering the drastic demand, it doesn't feel like a real compromise to me. And so these are like, okay, so like the way that best of Redditor updates work, just in case like you don't know, is that you get the first post, and then most of the time you get like relevant comments if the post is still up, and if the post isn't up, you don't get any comments. So the post is up here, so you get relevant comments here. So we have commenter 1 saying, so you offered a good compromise, but she wants you completely cut off for no reason at all, but her not vibing with your parents, because these examples you gave aren't really bad, annoying, possibly, but controlling? It seems like she wants to be the one controlling you. Ultimatums are the end, most of the time, to functioning relationships. You're very right. Very true. Once you get into ultimatums, you just kind of, you lose a lot of freedom, and then that ultimatum gives like the person more control over the relationship than maybe you had, when the relationship began. So ultimatums, usually in a functioning relationship, not that I would know, because I've never had one, but in a functioning relationship, a lot of ultimatums are like not a good thing. So he continues, close your eyes and imagine your future. Is it with her by your side and you not allowed to see your family? So the original poster, which is the person who originally posted this originally, say that 5 times fast, says, thanks for your comment. I'm afraid that this isn't the future I want. If nothing else, I should be at least worthy of a compromise of any kind. There's always me and her part of the story, but in this case, it's really hard for me to understand her. Commenter 2. So this is the second commenter. There's a couple commenters. I'll read the first 2 because this kind of goes on for a really, really fucking long time. But maybe I'll read just like the original posters comments, and just kind of like give you a TLDR on the comments. He is, because it seems like, okay, this is written a little bit differently than, okay, so wait, because this is the first time I'm reading this. A commenter 2. OP, this is awful. No one has the right to dictate or demand your relationship with others, and I'm afraid the only manipulator here is your fiance. True, yes. She's trying to cut you off from your family, dude. I mean, like, you even, like, notice it. Like, you even notice it, and you're just like, I don't know what to do. What should I do? Why is she doing this? Like, oh, come on, man. And this is kind of like why I think that things are just kind of fake. Because, I mean, these are obvious red signs, and this person is writing with the delicacy of, like, a Pop-Tart. You know what I mean? Like, the subtlety of, like, a black Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. You should not have to cut ties with anyone on her say-so. And your parents don't sound awful at all. They just sound like parents. Shrug emoji. Do you have any friends? Other family? Or has she cut you off from everyone? OP, your partner is toxic, and this relationship is not healthy. She isn't going to change, which she had shown you every time you've offered a compromise. Family is important. You only have one, and you should treasure every moment with them. Leave your partner. I agree. That's a good comment. You should leave this person because she's trying to isolate you from your family and giving you ultimatums about isolating you from your family, and even like shoving the fact that you're you're hesitating over that very difficult choice. I know, in my opinion, I wouldn't let some woman separate me from my family. That would be absolute insanity. But anyways, original poster says, only mutual friends. She has 2 of her own friends, no other family. You could probably guess what happened with the distant family members of mine, but I accept it, which wasn't healthy or the right way. She also doesn't have contact with distant family. That was her decision, but yeah, she hit the limit with this whole parent things. Thanks. So this is so this little section is like him responding to different comments. We don't get the full comments of like what he's replying to, but some of these are a little lengthy, so let's let's grab some takeout, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get right into this. Original poster responds to a comment about his fiance giving in to compromise and seeking therapy. Original poster. You are right. She doesn't give in to compromise very often. Usually it's up to me to either change or we do things her way. Oh my god, how do you live in a relationship like this? Like, every single time you have a problem, it's like you are the one that has to change? Like, brothers, like, stand up for yourself. Come on, man. Like, why are you letting this woman, like, push you around? I've been aware of this for about 2 to 3 years. So you know it's happening, but, like... but, like, you know, you're like BoJack Horseman. You don't give a fuck about it enough to change. You know, probably because you're, like, happy where you are, you know, in a relative sense. and you don't realize that you can be happier without this person, without this cancer sucking away at your life. Excuse me. I had to drink some liquid. I've been aware of this for about 2 to 3 years. I often wonder if I'm not giving enough in terms of love. But the more I think about it, the main problem seems to be that I haven't been able to say no. Yeah. Yeah, that would be the major problem. You don't have a backbone. And I don't know if it's just like the emotional manipulation that he's like going through, or like this woman is putting him through, or the isolation or whatever, but usually when an abuser does this, it's so that they have no one else that the abusee can rely on. And I mean, take that for a grain of salt. That's just shit I've read on the internet. So you know, it could be completely wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong in the comments. Give me some engagement. Thank you. The relationship is, of course, more complicated than I've written. But regarding just the situation with parents, I really don't know why she would demand that. Especially because she refuses to open up and talk about why. All she says is that she's already told me everything about this over the years. They're manipulating me, and that they have been in control. But not a single, really solid argument of how and when. Regarding therapy, I am looking into that. Thanks. I love these stories when people are like, hey, maybe you guys should go to couples therapy. Because, you know, she's obviously trying to manipulate you and isolate you, and she's obviously like this shit abuser, like girlfriend. But yeah, you guys should go to therapy instead of just like cutting the cancer off before it spreads anymore into your life. But yeah, go to therapy. That'll fix it. That'll fix you know, her abusive. I don't want to use this word because it's such a buzzword, but abusive, narcissistic personality. I think that's what we're dealing with here. I think we're just dealing with a narcissist. I think that she can't fathom the idea of... I know this because I've dated a narcissist. My ex-girlfriend, my last girlfriend, was a little bit of a narcissist, which is ironic because she would accuse everybody else of being a narcissist. Well, you know, that's a whole other thing. But, yeah, this is typical of, like, narcissists who just kind of, like, want to, control everything, you know, because they think that they deserve that control. I'm not sure exactly why narcissists are the way that they are. I haven't done a ton of research on them, or a ton of research on that personality type. But original poster gives examples of how being possible in an enmeshed child from a downvoted comment. Being I don't know what that means. Enmeshed. I don't know what that means. But I'm sure we'll find out. As I've already mentioned, I really want to be unbiased. Maybe there's something in me that suggests I was an enmeshed child. Alright, let's look this up. I don't know what enmeshed means. No, I apologize. I'm using my phone to record, so you're gonna hear a lot of it. Enmeshed. What's this mean? A dysfunctional relationship dynamic, often in families defined by blurred personal boundaries, lack of individual autonomy, and intense emotional reactivity. Coined by Salvador Minchon. Creates over-involved codependent ties where members feel okay. So it's just a dysfunctional family. Gotcha. Many times when my fiance pointed out something problematic about my parents, I defended them by saying, you know how they are. They just like to brag. I know it's not okay, but I really don't know what to do about it. Instead of telling them directly, hey, that's not okay, I just justified their behavior. Okay, I'm confused because I thought the parents were like pretty decent people. Like, maybe they might be a little bit braggy, and the dad might be a little bit of a know-it-all. But like, original poster hasn't said anything like, oh yeah, they used to like beat the fuck out of us and withhold food. And I know abuse doesn't have to look like that, but from everything he said, you know, like maybe they might be a little overbearing. But, you know, parents are always, at least parents that give a fuck, parents are always going to be a little bit overbearing because they care, right? So they're going to be overbearing. If they didn't care, then they wouldn't be overbearing, and they wouldn't give a fuck, right? So I don't know what's going on here, because I think that he's actually being gaslit into thinking that his parents are actually abusive, and that's really dangerous, because then that means that this woman isolating him from his family is actually going to work. It just took probably a little bit more time than she was willing to admit, and she probably got that. That's probably why they were fighting. Was because like the person was like the original poster was just like fighting it, so she just got a little frustrated with the fighting, and just like, why won't you just cut your parents off, you know, just narcissists are, you know these kind of people are. I don't really like using that word because it's a little bit overused, but this is, I mean, from everything we've read, from everything we've gathered, you know, original posters, Fiance is a little bit controlling. Anyways, at the beginning of our relationship, I showed her that even if something about my parents bothered me, I wasn't able to tell them. For example, if they kept asking, when are you coming over for lunch? Or it's really time for you to visit us for lunch, I couldn't bring myself to say, hey, that bothers me. I know that in the beginning, I didn't know how to set boundaries. And that's fair. And you are like, and it's sad to say, but you are like the perfect example, or you are like prime real estate for an abuser, because you don't know how to set boundaries, you can't stand up for yourself, so you let your loved ones kind of like walk all over you, because that's what you're used to, and you're probably taught that standing up for yourself is dangerous, and it's a lot more safer to take the crap and just like grit your teeth and just take it than it is to actually do anything about it. And that's kind of sad, you know. You should stand up for yourself. After about 5 years into our 9-year relationship, I started pushing back extremely hard. Whatever they offered, hey, do you need a drill? We have an extra one. I would immediately say, no, I don't need it. Even if we actually did, just to avoid any further engagement. And now see, that is probably not due to him, and I'm just realizing this, that's probably due to him not wanting to start a fight with his girlfriend and actually starting to kind of like cut him off, cut his parents off, and that's really fucked up. That's really messed up, man. Financially, they never demanded anything from me, even when I was a child. Well, why would a parent demand anything financially from a kid? However, my mom had access to my bank account until I was 24, normal, which was unusual. Yeah, I guess that is kind of a little bit unusual, huh? I eventually removed her access because there was no real reason for her to have it. She only had access in case something happened to me. But my fiance found that strange, so I canceled it without any issue. My mom didn't even ask why. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, you don't have to explain why in that situation, I feel like. Because in that situation, you're 24 years old. You're presumably out of the house because this is when you have your fiance. And, yeah, your mom doesn't need to be on your bank account. Like, maybe when you're a minor, she needs to be on your bank account. Maybe, like, when you're 19, 18, just to, like, make sure you don't be spending your money like a fucking idiot. But, like 18, 19-year-olds do. Like, whatever. But, yeah, for sure. That is a little unusual that your mom is on your bank account. Strange. But it's good that your mom didn't ask why. She probably got it. Like, oh, yeah, he's an adult. I don't need to control this anymore. So they dropped it. So, yeah, that's a good thing. So, now I'm trying to understand the deeper reasons behind all of this. My mom would often say things like, it would be nice if you came over, or you were invited to our wedding anniversary. I was often afraid to say no because I felt like I would hurt her. In the beginning, I couldn't say no, so I agreed to everything. Yes, I will. Yes, we will. But in the last 5 years, that completely flipped, and I started saying no to everything. He wrote not, but whatever. Which they saw me as pulling away and as something being wrong. They even asked me, is that why you don't want to come over, or is it because she doesn't want to? Why is it always a no? I literally say no to everything. Well, yeah, because when you raise a kid, right, you still want to have a relationship with that kid, or like ideally, you still want to have a relationship with that kid, but instead of a parent-child relationship, it should be more like it should still be a parent-child relationship first and foremost, but that should kind of like, especially when you're like 24 years old, that should kind of like go to the back, and you should be more like friends, ideally, because at that point you've like given them all the tools, theoretically, that they need to survive in the real world, and so now you can just kind of like be a friend or be somebody that the child can go to, but not necessarily because the person's an adult and no longer lives under your house. It's not like you can force rules onto that person, right? And I guess you could, but it would be kind of a little difficult, wouldn't it? I explained that my fiance simply doesn't enjoy these family lunches. They don't understand it at first, but they don't push the issue and eventually accepted it. Over time, they stopped asking. This is really sad, because, this just sounds like, two parents missing, having a little bit of an empty nest syndrome, and it's expedited by this horrible wench of a woman who just wants to control everything. To see people's reactions and opinions on why she might feel that way, I didn't even mention how much control there was over my hobbies. Of course there is. Because when somebody like this infects your life, they want to control every aspect of your life. And when you are admittedly, like original poster, if you are admittedly like original poster where you have no backbone, you can't stand up for yourself, and your fucking dick is tiny, and you just kind of take whatever comes your way, and I don't know what it is with him specifically, but if you're just accepting scraps and just living your life under the rules of someone else, especially as an adult, you're gonna have some issues there, and you're gonna see some more power in the relationship on her side than you are on your side. And that's the thing about power dynamics in a relationship, is that they should be equal. and they shouldn't veer one way or the other. That makes it an unhealthy, almost toxic relationship. It's like it's like the ingredient for a toxic relationship. You know what I mean? It's especially an ingredient in an abuser-abusee relationship. Like it's the key integral part of an abuser-abusee relationship. Anyways, I didn't even mention how much control there was over my hobbies, friendships, how much I had to report where I was, how I spoke to others, and so on. I'm sure that there is something unhealthy in my relationship with my parents. Because of that, I told my fiance I can go to therapy, but you don't have to go to them. We can just talk about it. But nothing helped. Well, of course, because you're being isolated from a very healthy relationship that probably makes you happy. Like I said, there isn't anything in the preface in part one that has been like the parents are, like I said, a little overbearing, but that doesn't mean that there's resentment. And you probably just feel not good about cutting your parents off. And I feel like that's a conflict he's kind of going through right now. Anyways, so this is original poster's additional comments after reading all the responses. So he made a couple of additional comments here, and this is long as shit. So you might as well order some takeout. We're gonna be here for a minute. So original poster says, I read every single comment. Thanks to everyone making opinions on this. For a reason, I didn't add context about how the relationship works with friends at work. How much mistrust there is overall, how much control there is over general things, and how many restrictions there are with hobbies, etc. And see, this guy is like almost kind of like Stockholm syndrome. Like he's not like, oh, I can't take how much control she has over my life or whatever. He just kind of accepts it. Like this is what a relationship is. And I feel like that's probably a learned behavior, and I don't see his parents being like that though. So I don't know where he would have learned it from. I definitely see a connection to my childhood in some way, and why I was allowed things to go to extremes. But it's not like things were like this in my childhood. See, he even says that it wasn't like this. But I understand now why I didn't dare to say no when situations like this continued. I felt like I was missing something, like there was something wrong with me. That's why this time I finally said no. I don't want this. I don't wish to continue. Fortunately, something woke up in me. Yeah, your backbone did. You got a backbone, brother. Good for you. I'm happy. I'm a happy being that you woke up. Maybe late, but better late than never. That is so true. That is so true. It is better to get a relation. It's better not to beat yourself up over leaving an abusive relationship. Because I should have seen things this way. Woulda, shoulda, coulda is useless. Focus on what's going on in front of you. Live in the moment, plan for the future type shit. That's why I am now actively exploring therapy and thinking about next steps, which will involve ending the relationship. Fuck yeah, that's what we like to see. Yeah, we like to see abusees break abusive relationships, dude. That's the fuck we like to see. That's the kind of shit that we live for right here, man, on this channel. On this channel, we live for abuser... we live for abusee breaking the abuser's relationship and going their own way. You heard of men going their own way? How about abusees going their own way? Okay? Fuck what you heard. A lot of people ask regarding friends, and replied to a few answers to your questions. I don't have my own friends. They're all just mutual friends. She has 2 women friends. She's jealous to everyone around my surroundings. So my coworker would write, "Oh my god, I don't think I could ever." I mean, this person lived this truth for like 5 years, presumably, right? Because it's Reddit and all the stories are fake on here. But I feel like we're gonna give this one the benefit of the doubt. But this person has lived this truth for 5 years and hasn't had a friend. Hasn't had a friend in 5 years. That's insanity. And that's a comic, like, that's a common, like, narcissist thing. They get very, like, almost jealous. And like I said, I've only had one narcissistic girlfriend, and it was my previous ex-girlfriend. And she would get kind of jealous of my friends, you know, when I hung out with them. But me, I don't give a fuck, right? I truly don't care about much. So whenever she would get jealous, I would just be like, oh, well, I don't see how that's my problem. And I would just go on and play video games or whatever. You know, smoke some pot and play Animal Crossing. And she would just be there next to me, you know, in the bed or wherever, on the couch or wherever, just seething, just angry, right? And she would try and start a fight with me. And I'm like, I'm not fighting with you. I don't know. If you don't like that I hang out with my friends, you know, there's the door. You can leave. Go away. And, you know, it is what it is, but I just didn't let her control things the way that she wanted to control things, and she just couldn't stand that, because I really don't give a fuck about anything most of the time, which has its own downsides. But he goes on to say she talks to those two friends via social network. We go together in person in coffee, to coffee, etc. They were old friends before we were together. In my free time, we were usually doing things together. I really don't have my own free time for any outdoor activities, like to go out walking on my own, play basketball, etc. I still take some time for my personal stuff, like learn about computers, but mostly we're doing stuff together. Oh god, that sounds so miserable. You know, in a relationship, you have to sort of like spend time by yourself, you know, free, you know, alone time. A lot of, I don't know why, but a lot of couples fear the idea of alone time, and I think it's because most people, two people are taping that. Isn't that interesting? I didn't know that was the time. But anyways, oh shit, where was I? Oh, anyways, alone time is good, you know, because spending every waking minute with, you know, your significant other or your husband, your wife, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's not very healthy, because, you know, sometimes you need time to yourself, and that is perfectly okay. And for some reason, sometimes some people have a real issue with, especially when you're together with them, have a real issue with you wanting to be by yourself. Like, they feel like something is wrong with them. And I feel like those are the people that are like truly afraid to be alone, because they can't sit with their own thoughts for like 5 seconds. They always have to be doing something. Anyways, in her free time, those 4 hours per day via working PT part-time, she watches her own TV series, cooks for both of us, cleaning, and some of her own hobbies, whatever those would be, controlling the relationship, I guess, thinking of how to be a manipulative piece of shit and cut original poster off from everything. That's what I assume her own. That's what I assume her hobbies are, because she's an absolute vile piece of shit. I pay for all these expenses. Oh, and on top of that, he pays for everything too, dude. Oh my god. Oh my god. So not only can the man not have his own friends, he can't even, like, talk to his own family, but he has to pay, he has to foot the bill too. Because of course, she can't pay for anything. Because of course, you know, you have to give him the illusion of control, right? And that's what that is. That's not control. That's not him controlling any facet of the relationship. That's her controlling the relationship. And that is something I'm going to say with full confidence, even if I'm wrong about this dynamic. But hold on, let's see what we got. I pay for all the expenses, bills. When we go to the store, she sometimes likes to buy stuff. When we go to vacation, she pays for, like, some dinner gifts and stuff. Only financial problem, which I directly see if I receive some bonus at payment. She is really jealous. Well, yeah, because your success, she doesn't see your success as her success. She sees your success as something that she needs to be better at. You know what I mean? Because she's a narcissist. That's all there is to it. So he I guess this post is written kind of weird for this subreddit. I've never seen a post written like this. So it says hold on, let me go back to where we were at. So it says, editor's note, adding a couple prior posts for more context to help with said situation. Okay, so this is prior posts he's made on r/relationship advice, and I suppose it introduces a little bit more context with the relationship, or like what was going on after. So this is like 8 months later, and this was posted on November 27th, 2025. So and the post reads, how to introduce couples therapies in a relationship with strong emotional cycles. Hello everyone, I'm looking for advice on how to approach couple therapy in my relationship. Just get out, dude. I want to be respectful of the rules here, so I want to clarify that I'm not diagnosing my partner or claiming she has any disorder. What I can say is that there are some patterns in our relationship that have been very intense, and some of them resemble what some people describe in this community. Oh, I guess he didn't finish his thought there, so he just went on to the next paragraph. I'm not here to label or blame. I love my partner deeply, and I know she struggles emotionally. I've started individual therapy to work on my part and to understand how to support our relationship better. My therapist suggested that couples therapy, or at least a proper clinical evaluation for her, could help us both, but she's very hesitant about it, mostly because she has a deep fear of trusting and opening up and letting someone new into her emotional world. That's how it's written. Opening up in a letting someone new into her emotional world. That's exactly how it's written. So don't come to me and say, you made a mistake on the internet. I make a lot of mistakes on the internet. I want to be respectful of that, but at the same time, it feels like we keep hitting the same wall. It's because you want her to get better, but she doesn't want to get better, or she can't get better, I guess is the proper word. Because she just wants complete, total control. She doesn't want a fiance. She doesn't want a husband. She don't even want a boyfriend. She wants a drone, dude. She wants you to be this drone. She wants to have complete and total control over you. And that's really fucking terrifying. She currently sees a non-clinical counselor. Okay, well, that's not a therapist. But there's no structured treatment or assessment. Whenever we hit deeper conflicts, we get stuck in cycles that are extremely hard for both of us. Some of us are reoccurring issues that involve strong fears with very high emotional reactions and expectations that I genuinely try to meet, but sometimes can't without losing myself. I'm not judging her. I simply want to understand how others have navigated this and what has helped. Any experiences or advice would mean a lot. Thank you. And so this is another post. This is how did your partner... Okay, so this is a comment that he made to a question. Oh, no. Okay, so wait, no, this is another post he made in r/relationship advice. I'm sorry. He says, how did your partner react when you experienced a loss in your family? February 14th, 2026. This is about a month and a half later. Or, I'm sorry, two and a half months later. He says, I'd really appreciate hearing other people's experiences. For those who have or had a partner with bipolar disorder, which, yeah, that's probably accurate. Bipolar disorder and narcissism, from what I've read and from what I've experienced, kind of go a little bit hand in hand. Because I have a personal relationship with somebody with bipolar disorder, and I suspect that they have narcissism as well, given how much they think of themselves. But anyways, he says, How do they react when you lose a parent or someone very close to you, especially in situations where you were supporting your parent? For example, staying a few days with your mom or dad after your spouse died, helping with arrangements, being physically present. Were they supportive, distant, angry, jealous, overwhelmed? I'm just trying to understand patterns and experiences. And we don't know what people said in that thread. I could click on it, but I'm not reading it. I don't care. We're going to focus on just what he has been saying, what he's been posting online. So this is the update. This is the true to form update here. So we've got some context. We've got the fiance is actually has BPD. Oh my god, bipolar disorder, and of course we have seen that he's been trying to get into couples counseling, but she doesn't want to be in couples counseling. I believe is what the last one was. So this is the update, and this happened on May 2nd, 2026, and this is 3 months later from the a previous post, but 13 months from the original post that we read. So update 1 year later. It was about a month. This is about a year and a month. Fiance 29 insists I, male 30, cut off my parents struggling with the decision. That is the update. So 1 year later. A year ago, we briefly broke up and I moved out for a week. My main goal was to show her that I wasn't the right way, that this wasn't the right way to solve our problems. So he wrote I wasn't the right way to solve our problems, and that confused me. But he meant this wasn't the right way to solve our problems. There is no real compromise. She insisted that I either cut off my relationship with my parents or we would break up. She said that if I showed her she was my main priority, I could occasionally see my parents and we can move forward. Her father got involved and I asked him for advice. After speaking with her, he suggested that I temporarily hide my contact with my parents so she could see that our relationship was my priority. Oh my god, so like her father is like maneuvering for her, man. Like her father is even like fucking with her head. Oh my god, this is just a fucking family full of like gaslighters and manipulators, huh? Oh my god, well I don't know, maybe they're like isolationists or something, but I doubt that. I highly doubt that. I don't know if you want to give the benefit of the doubt to this person. Based on that, I came back. Fuck. Oh my god. So you were out for a week, and you're like, actually, and you know that's kind of like the sad cycle, isn't it? Especially when it comes to like like an isolated partner like this. You know, his life isn't even his own. You know what I mean? It's hers, and it's crazy because the life that you're building was supposed to be, you know, yours together, not just hers, or not just like yours. It's supposed to be like yours, you know? You know what I mean? Like it's supposed to be like, I know that sounded a lot more profound in my head, but I promise, you know, what I'm trying to say is that you're supposed to be building a life together. You know, one person shouldn't have all this control. It's very dangerous. During that time, I tried to maintain the relationship and reflect on possible issues with myself and my parents. This was around May. For her, I agreed not to see my parents. However, I secretly called them once every week or two, and visited them every third week. I felt ashamed for lying, but in hindsight, I'm glad I did, and you'll see why. Oh, so he was like sneaking around behind his like, oh hell yeah, this is where we get some balls, bro. Hell yeah. Oh yeah, grow a spine, my dude. Tell her to fuck off. That's what you do. Fuck off. These are my parents, bro. You're not gonna cut me off from my parents? Who the fuck do you think you are? That's what you do. But obviously, right, it doesn't work like that. It only works that way in like hindsight. But from her perspective, my main responsibility was to push my parents aside
so she could feel that I cared about her feelings, even if I didn't fully understand or agree with them. Sorry. I got a notification on my phone that kind of fucked me up. At the same time, I started individual therapy. However, because my first therapist was a woman, I had to cancel. Oh my god. So she's like doing the Carmela, like Tony Soprano thing with like Jennifer Melfi. You know what I mean? That's insanity. That's Sean Hannity insanity, dude. That is absolute Sean Hannity insanity. From her perspective, my main responsibility was to push my parents aside so she could feel that I cared about her feelings even if she didn't. Oh, I already read that, my bad. But because my therapist was a woman, I had to cancel. She couldn't tolerate any woman around me, regardless of age. I then asked her multiple times if we could go to couples therapy, but she insisted that we didn't need it because we were fine? I don't know why he added that question mark, but yeah, he added that question mark. And you guys are not fine. I mean, this guy is probably feeling like he's getting like really like suffocated, right? Like this person feels probably like not good about the relationship. This person probably doesn't even feel like their life is their life, and they probably can't even like really articulate it or like even like stand up for themselves because they don't have any fucking balls, right? Like because they're stuck in that cycle of like isolation and abuse. Like it's scary for them to leave the woman or their fiance because that means like being alone and like not having any friends, but like you still have your family, you know. And I don't think this person realizes that, you know what I mean. After 3 to 4 months, I kept asking her where we stood on the issue and how we could resolve it. The relationship seemed better because she believed I wasn't in contact with my parents, but in reality, I was speaking to them more, not less. Good for you, making your own goddamn decisions. By August, nothing had changed. Whenever I tried to discuss a solution or asked if I could see my parents, I could no longer lie. She repeatedly said I could see them only once per year. Oh my god, she's even like dictating like how many times this person can like see their parents. Holy fuck. Which I couldn't accept. One day I reached my limit. I asked again and she told me that if I didn't agree, I could leave. So I did. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, that's what I like to see. Where the person just gets like sick of it, just gets sick of like all the ultimatums and all the bullshit, and they're like, you know what, fine, I will leave. But he goes on. But my feelings for her didn't just disappear, it won't. I moved into an apartment and we didn't speak for a month. During that time, I went back to therapy, good for you, with the same female therapist. Hell yeah, some fucking spite therapy. That's what you go to Reddit for right there, Deuterino. That's what you go right there. That's what you go to Reddit for right there. Some spite therapy. Fuck yeah, man. To understand myself, what I was doing wrong, and what was wrong with my family dynamics, and why nothing I did ever seemed to be enough for her. After a month, we started talking again. Oh, man. Oh, she's just gonna pull you back into the cycle, too, dude. Just cut contact with her, man. Just go no contact. Now, I know that's such like a fucking Redditor thing to say, but just go no contact is the best way to do it, dude. It's the best way to get out of situations like this. And I know that's like a lot easier said than done because you know, people go a little bit nutty, a little bit crazy when they don't get what they want. But especially in this kind of situation, you want to go no contact. That's how you do it. As best you can, at least. I try to understand her perspective better, but her reasons remain the same. My parents were too cocky. They influenced me too much, and they complained a lot, especially about my father's health. They're worried, like, I don't know, this person just like really just seems like they only care about themselves and just care about having complete total control over like a drone. You know what I mean? I try to find a reasonable compromise. For example, that I could see them without involving her at all. She wouldn't need to attend birthdays or even funerals when the time comes if she didn't want to. Eventually, in November, her final compromise was that I could see them 6 times per year for 30 minutes. Oh my god. Oh my god. Who is this? Who I would be, if I was in this situation, I'd be like, who the fuck are you to tell me how long I can see my parents and like how many times I can see my parents a year? Who the fuck are you, man? But obviously, right, this person is like stuck in this cycle, so he can't. He's probably afraid on some level. She doesn't seem like she's like physically abusive, but she's definitely like mentally abusive. She's probably like cutting him down and calling him names and just being a terrible, awful human to him, just berating him for no reason. She's probably doing that, and he's just not saying that because obviously men don't really we don't really speak up when it counts, when we are getting abused, because it's a little stigmatized. It's a lot of stigmatized. Anyways, otherwise, right. So he said that the could see them only like 30 minutes a day, only 6 times a day, but he says that she would allow him to talk to them on birthdays or holidays, and once per month. So they like talk to them over the phone. Gotcha. Otherwise, even though they lived only 20 minutes away. Oh my god. Hell yeah. I couldn't accept that. I'm saying hell yeah to that. Not that they lived only 20 minutes away. That made me sound like I'm unhinged. No. So what had happened was I read I couldn't accept that, and I went, oh hell yeah. But anyways, I meant I couldn't accept that, and then I was trying to interject, oh hell yeah, but my brain got in front of my mouth. Sorry about that. My therapist also pointed out that these demands were unusually strict from a therapeutic perspective. From a therapeutic perspective, from a relationship perspective, it's strict. And she has no right to be making these demands at all. But anyways, my relationship with my parents seemed normal. Through therapy, I've realized I have had issues with boundaries. I often felt guilty saying no, although I had been prioritizing my girlfriend for years. So every time was no, I said no. So every time was no if she didn't agree on it. Right. Okay. Why though? I don't understand. During therapy, the topic of borderline personality disorder came up, not as a diagnosis, but as a possible explanation for some behaviors. This was the first time I had ever heard of it. I researched it extensively, books, videos, podcasts, and I realized that regardless of whether she had it or not, she experienced emotions very differently from me. See, I don't think she has borderline personality disorder. I mean, like I said, I don't want to sound like a lame redditor, like a lame gay redditor, but this person genuinely sounds like they have like narcissistic personality disorder. And the issue comes from, oh, you're not spending time with me, you're spending time with them. So you need to cut them off because you're making me feel jealous. Instead of, realizing what it is and it's just like hanging out and talking with your parents. Anyways, we started communicating more again. She asked me to switch therapists because mine was a woman, so I changed to a male therapist. I focused on understanding her emotional experience as much as possible. In December, I told her I would visit my parents for birthday. We didn't speak for a week afterwards. The more we talked, the fewer concrete arguments she had. She mostly repeated that she simply didn't feel okay when I had contact with them. I told her we couldn't continue like this, and that we needed couples therapy. In January, we started. After 6 months, nothing changed. When the therapist asked how she felt when I contacted my parents, she said it felt like a heavy rock in her body, that she hated me most when I did it, and loved me most when I didn't. That's manipulation right there, man. That's like you're not doing what I say, so I fucking hate you for it. That's insanity. That's Sean Hannity insanity. That is Sean Hannity insanity, my brother. That's what that is. That is absolute bipolar Sean Hannity insanity. During that time, I secretly visited my parents, helping them with practical things, spending quality time, and having honest conversations without fear. We talked about boundaries, my fears of saying no, and what could improve our relationship. We were still separated, but trying to work things out. Then one normal day in February, my mother called early in the morning. "Son, paramedics are resuscitating your father. Please come home." Oh shit, so his dad is having issues here, like his heart or something. So, okay, this isn't good. Let's see how it reacts when there's like a tragedy in his family. See how she reacts. Let's see. I have a feeling this is gonna get pretty dark. I called my girlfriend. She said, "Go if it's an emergency." I drove there. My mind was racing all over. Sadly, my father had passed away. I told her the news and returned briefly to our apartment. She offered help and we talked for 2 hours. Then I went back to my mother and grandmother, whom my girlfriend also didn't accept. After about an hour, she messaged me. "Are you still there?" I said yes, but I would probably stay with my mom that night. Her response was cold at first, but soon turned into anger. See, I told you. I told you this would get dark. Oh my god. I can't believe you'd rather be with your mom than me. You need your mommy. Oh my god. What a vile, disgusting person, bro. Oh my god, dude. That moment changed something in me. I realized that no matter what I did, it would never be enough. Even in a situation like death, empathy only lasted until her feelings were triggered. Fucking A. I didn't invite her to the funeral, although her mother came secretly. I tried to explain things to her parents and even suggested a book to help them understand her emotional responses. That's just like a Redditor thing. Like, oh, you should read this book. That is such a fucking Redditor. It is such a Redditor thing. After a year of struggle, I lost both my family, both my father and my relationship. But despite everything, I feel stronger than ever. It's still hard sometimes, but I don't regret lying for contact with my parents. The time allowed me to build a deeper relationship with them, especially now with my mother. To anyone in a similar situation, take care of yourself and your loved ones. Understand that people can experience emotions very differently. Sometimes, even when there is love, letting go is the healthiest choice.